And welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my last 5 reads for you. I cannot believe it's taken me this long to get this out. I feel like the worst reader lately. I have not been reading as much as I normally do, and it's like slowly killing me. But I feel like eventually, like once the holidays calm down, like I feel like the school year is finally calming down. I feel like next year, 2019, I could get right back on the swing of things. So I'm hoping that that'll happen. I've got 5 books for you that I have read recently. I have 1 book that I'm currently reading, but if it makes you feel any better, I am vlogging this week. I've been vlogging since Monday. I think it was Monday I started vlogging. And I think I might even like keep this as like a weekly thing until 2019, like vlog every day until 2019, except it'll be like the weekly vlog setup. So like Monday to Sunday and then Monday to Sunday and then Monday to Sunday. I think that might be what I do. I don't know. I haven't decided. I'm still playing around with it. So I'm currently, like I said, vlogging. So some of these books you will see in my vlog of my experience reading it. Actually, maybe only 1. That's okay. So back before Thanksgiving, I finally finished Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in a, I don't know if it's a duology or whatnot. I know Arch Enemies just came out, and I think there's a 3rd book, so maybe it's a trilogy. But this is a take on superheroes and villains, and it follows our main character who is kind of an anti-villain. She's really against the villains. Not villains. She doesn't like the superheroes, because when she was a child, her parents told her that the superheroes would come and save her family, and they ended up getting murdered, and the superheroes were nowhere to be found to like save her family. So she kind of has this like hatred towards them, and so she kind of is with this group of like vigilantes, I guess you can say, trying to go against these superheroes, because in this world the superheroes are basically like the president, like they kind of run everything. And so she kind of doesn't believe in that. She doesn't have that stand. And then there's this other character who is on that superhero side, and he is trying his own things. He finds this new power within himself that he's trying to use, but nobody knows he has this power. And they end up coming together and kind of forming this friendship due to her trying to infiltrate like the superheroes. And so I feel like this book was a lot of like setup. Like I feel like this was a book that was trying to just get you ready for what was to come versus actually having things happen. So for a really big book, there wasn't a whole ton of action. I still rather enjoyed it. Still gave it 4 stars, and I do eventually want to pick up Arch Enemies. I just didn't love it. It did take me a while to get through, but it was still really enjoyable, and I was nervous that I wasn't going to be able to follow it with so many characters. The one nice thing is they do offer you a cast of characters in the front, so I would find myself flipping back and forth just to like keep myself like on track and making sure that I wasn't confusing people. But for the most part, it was actually really easy to track, so this was pretty good. And then after that, I picked up 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty, and this book took me a really long time to get through. It was also during a really crazy time of school year where I was dealing with conferences and getting my conferences all set up and getting like all the paperwork filled out, so that way when parents came in I knew exactly what I was going to say and things like that. So like that's probably why this took me a while, because we have 2 weeks of conferences. So like it took a lot of my time. So I wasn't always the most eager to pick this up, which I think also kind of does speak to the book a little bit. I love Leanne Moriarty's writing, and I love her other books, but for some reason this one did not connect with me as much as I wanted it to. This book takes place at this like kind of health resort, and these 9 random strangers happen to be there at the same time, and the woman who's running it is almost doing kind of like an experiment on these like 9 people. She is trying a new way of getting people the results that they want. And I found it, like, the beginning I was like, oh, this is really intriguing. I liked getting to know all the new characters, but it felt like a lot of dryness. There wasn't a lot of things that were going on. We were just getting to know them and getting to know their story. So it was definitely a character-driven story versus a plot-driven story until you got to the end and all of a sudden, like, shit hit the fan, and it was like, oh my god, what is happening? And you wanted to keep going. But for the most part, this was not my favorite by her. I found myself really bored at points and just exhausted by it at points. So, like, I felt like it was an interesting idea and an interesting concept that she was going for. It just felt very different and not what I was expecting from a book that I know that she has written in the past. It didn't have that like it normally does. So, unfortunately, I did not love this one as much. So, unfortunately, this did not get 5 stars from me, which was really disappointing because the only book that has not gotten 5 stars from me with her is The Hypnotist Love Story. So I was really hoping that this was going to be another 5-star reads, and it just wasn't, unfortunately. Then I picked up something because I felt like I just needed something that was going to, like, read quickly. There was one night where I was like, I finally have time to read. And I was like, honey, I'm going upstairs. I'm taking a break. I'm taking some me time. I'm going up in my room, and I'm going to start a book. And I ended up flying through this, and I read this in one night on a school night. It was the most bizarre thing ever, and I finished It Had to Be You by Janice Thompson. I thought that this was actually the 3rd and final book in this trilogy, but after putting this on Goodreads, I realized that there's technically a 4th book, but it looks like the 4th book is only an ebook because I haven't been able to find a, like, physical copy of it. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you've read this series. This is the Weddings by Bella series, because I would love to read book 4, but I'm not necessarily all about reading it on an ebook, but I don't know, because it felt like it wrapped up pretty well in this one, so it's interesting to me that there is a 4th book. So if you've read this series, please let me know. This is the first series that goes with this, like, there's like 3 companion series that go with this series together. And I have to say, I think I like the Weddings by Design series a lot more than Bella. I love Bella in those books, but I didn't really love her as my main character. And I don't know if these were like the first books that Janice Thompson has ever written, and that's why I think that maybe I like her writing style as it's grown versus where it started. I don't know, but it was really good. I really liked it, but I have to give the warning with this series, though, that it is Christian fiction, and it can be a little over the top, and it'll be a little bit preachy. And it doesn't bother me as much. It bothered me a little bit in one of the books where it just felt like it wouldn't get away from that, and I was just like, I just want the story. I don't need all of this. So if you are not into Christian fiction, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the Weddings by Bella trilogy part. I did think that the Weddings by Design wasn't as intense, so if you were still interested in reading something by her, I would stick with that one first. But I'm excited that this feels done to me, because I don't know if I would read that 4th one anyways unless it was in print. So I feel like I'm really excited that I can now step forward and move forward in reading the other spin-off series, which I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it has to do with like Hollywood and things like that. So I'm excited to get to that series, and that's why I kind of finally pushed myself to get to this one, because the second one left me with a weird taste in my mouth, and I wasn't prepared to start this one yet, so it took me a little while before I finally picked this up, but I'm glad that I finally finished it, and I was able to read it in one sitting, so it was nice. It was a nice change. And then I decided that I knew that I had to review a book for NetGalley, and I have a full review up for it, so if you're really interested in finding out more information about it, it's over there, and that is Into the Night by Sarah Bailey. This is book 2 in the Dark Lake series. Apparently, I haven't cleaned up from my last video because it's still here. So this is the first book, and this is the sequel. It's a slower-paced kind of detective mystery series, so each book follows the same detective and how she goes and solves some crime. She's a kind of detective, and I like them. They're just a very slow-paced book, so if you are not looking for a slow-paced mystery and you want something intense, this book may not be for you, but if you are okay with it being kind of slow and taking your time, it's definitely worth it. I read this also in one day, not one sitting, but one day, and I rather enjoyed it, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. And then this week I finished my audiobook that I've been listening to, and that is Frost Like Night by Sarah Rosh. This is the third and final book in the Snow Like Ashes series. And it was interesting because I really enjoyed this series, but it was like very much dragged out. This book was so dragged out. It kept talking about the battle. It felt like Twilight all over again, where it was like, battle's coming, battle's coming, battle's coming. Is the battle coming? Is it coming? Because you keep telling me about this battle. I just want it. I just need to get it over with now. And so I liked it. It just felt very dragged out. Like it just wanted to be this big thing for it to be the last book in the series, but it didn't need to be. But I liked it. I thought the ending was really nice. I couldn't predict what was going to happen, but there was this one plot point that kept getting brought up, and I was like, there's no way this author is actually going to go through with that. That is totally misleading. She's trying to mislead us, and I was right, because it wasn't going to happen. But other than that, I thought this was really enjoyable, and you know me, I'm not a huge fantasy reader, so to like this book was a big deal. I did like listening to it on audio, except the person who plays Mira was driving me bananas too, because her talking voice, her narrating voice was really great, and then when she would put Mira's voice on, it would be like, hello, like she had this like deep voice. I'm like, she's 17. No 17-year-old sounds like that. But other than that, I thought it was a really enjoyable book. It has to do with the seasons and trying to reclaim territory. The first book is about Mira and her like little crew. They were really little. They were originally from the land of winter. Winter has been kind of been taken over by spring, and so they try to get winter back, and there's magic, and it's a good trilogy. I would definitely check it out if you're into fantasy. So those are the 5 books that I have finished. I am currently reading Mistletoe on Main Street by Olivia Miles. I have 200 pages left of this book, but I'm hoping to get it done today. I don't know. I'm going to get my nails done. We have things to do, which you will see in my vlog, but this is what I'm currently reading right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm coming back a little bit, and I can't wait to see you guys again very soon. Bye, everybody.